Hello, hi guys. Welcome back to the Cake Lady podcast. As you can see, I have new equipment. I'm so happy about it. Today, I'm sitting down with the Immaculate Crows. I have a couple other bands too. It's a busy day. But yeah, they're going to be here in a sec. Stay tuned on Tuesday for Band of the Week and Wednesday for my updated songs of the week. And I have some concerts lined up next month. So I lied earlier in my post saying that I wouldn't be able to do any. So sorry, I'm trying to get my questions. I'm also trying to keep the mic right here. It doesn't move much. It does move much, huh? I did it. Now how do I keep it like this? Oh, I think I figured. I'm just testing as I go. But yeah, they're gonna be here in a couple minutes. And that is all. I just emailed them the link. I don't know if I should be closer or farther away. I'm at my desk in my new place too. So I was gonna pause the recording, but then I'm just like, I don't really want to. You guys can just I'm gonna be figuring out how to go live over the weekend. I have a Twitch streamer that I watch who is actually messaging me and is gonna help me figure that out. So I love I love making connections. It's always nice. And my face looks weird. It's because I'm not recording my phone anymore. I'm recording on my computer. So not the best looking on camera. They're also a UK based band. Um, I only know that because there's a time difference. It's gonna be like 9 a.m. for them. I could not imagine doing interviews at 9 a.m. Not sponsored, just addicted. I have a Coke addiction. I think I might want to pause it until they join. So I'm just not sitting here. So yeah, go follow my face. Go follow me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, what have you, Spotify, YouTube. I don't know what other social media there is anymore. My email. No, I'm kidding. And go follow the Immaculate Crows. Oh, they're not UK based, they're Australian based. I don't know anymore. Now I feel bad because I should have checked that, but I didn't. Yeah, so I found them on Facebook. Go follow them on Facebook. And Spotify. They are musicians. So follow them on Spotify, YouTube. I don't know how many people actually use YouTube anymore. Um, their most recent release was Van Gogh. I actually did listen to that. I liked it a lot. They're an alternative band, which is more like 80s based. I mean, that's in their description, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. I listened to it and I was like, this is actually so cool. So, all right, I'm gonna pause the recording until. Oh, wait, never mind. Hello? My microphone smells weird. Hello.
Sorry, I'll get off in a minute. I'm just trying to work out, are we on? The microphone should, no, shit. I didn't get a chance to get in and set up.
I can hear you.
Oh,
It's fine, Kel.
Yeah.
can you? Oh, good. I
Can you hear
can't
me?
hear. I can't hear. I can hear you, but I can't hear me. That's all right. I'll give it to Bruce.
I can't hear myself, so.
Can you still hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. He doesn't need to wear the headset then. Good. Okay. There you go.
Hello, you must be the infamous Vanita.
I am. I go by Michelle.
What's that, sorry?
I go by Michelle.
Oh, Michelle. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
How are you?
Yeah, good. It's a little bit cold here this morning, but got to turn the air conditioner on.
Australia, huh?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah,
Landed
I heard about the time difference and I was like, oh, they must be UK based. And then I looked at your page and I was like, wait, no, Australia.
No. And the American World Cup team is playing here in a couple of hours.
Oh, I didn't know
The
anything
Women's
about
World
that.
Cup team. Yep.
Oh, it's been a long day. So I have my questions here, but they're in cursive, so like give me a minute to process.
No, don't worry about it.
Okay. Your name's Bruce, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Are there other members of the Immaculate Crows?
Well, basically, it's a collective nowadays. It used to be a fully fledged band back in the 80s. But then I had a huge break from music. I stopped playing and performing around early 85. And basically, I just got sick with a lot of disappointments, really. With, like three bands I founded and played in all had great potential and really could have gone a long way, but people kept them falling out at critical times. So I just got sick of the band politics and disappointments. End up settling down with Carolyn, who you just met before. Is also my producer. And it was only in 2019 that I got the old music out and the streaming stuff that I recorded back in the 80s, of which it was very little. And then I teamed up with an old band member who was recording instrumentals, and we just started laying down tracks, and then that's when Carolyn got drawn into the whole thing because we had no means of recording vocals. We could only do instrumentals. So she had to learn how to operate a DAW overnight, basically. And she's pretty smart, so she picked up pretty quick. So she became quite a competent producer in a very small amount of time, really, like 2 years or so we've been going now, and we've got, apart from the 4 old releases, we've got 24 new ones out, which are predominantly new songs I've written over the last couple of years. So once I have a reason for writing songs, I become quite prolific. Like when I'm not releasing songs or not recording, whatever, there's no point, so I just go dormant,
Yeah.
So basically, we're a collective now. That's the way I describe it anyways. I write the songs, arrange the songs, arrange the music. Carolyn produces the tracks for me. When it comes to some of the things I don't play, Carolyn produces those on different software that we've got, and then I get other musicians to occasionally come in when I feel like getting someone else getting involved. But basically, I have to get someone to sing on every single song. I don't do any singing whatsoever. I'm capable of singing, but I prefer other people to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it interesting for me. Apart from getting the songs out there, it's I use a multitude of different singers. I've got another 2 new ones coming up over the next 2 weeks. One of which will be here tomorrow. Actually, a lady from Croatia who's been sort of traveling around the world singing. She's ended up in Brisbane, where I live, and we've had a bit of a meet up, and I'll meet up just by texting, whatever else, and she's listened to a bit of music. She's interested. I've sent her 3 different songs to have a listen to and see which one she likes them all, I think, but it's just a matter of how she'll go tomorrow.
So
That's
like
always a big.
does having different singers like take away band politics pretty much?
It does. It's great.
That's
Oh, look, that's
that's
not to
awesome.
say that. Look, people being people, you're bound to. There always will be a problem child somewhere along the line.
Yeah. But you want someone to like connect
Yeah,
with, so like, even if you have a little tit tat, it's fine.
you just move on.
Yeah. I
Life's too
tested
short.
my audio when I was recording, and then I just realized that I don't know if I'm recording your audio.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. So now I'm a little worried.
okay.
I don't know how to check that.
Oh, this is the warm up, man.
Yeah. Um, I'm gonna stop recording here and then check it. Okay, I'm back. Uh, I think I edited it out of my other recording, but I realized that I tested my audio and stuff, and then I realized I had headphones in, and so I had no idea if I could hear him while I was recording it. So I ended it real quick so I could check that, and it worked. So I feel okay. Hello. Oh,
We may
hi.
be.
It
Hi.
works.
Very good.
Yay. All right. Um, so you've been playing music since the 80s.
Yep.
That is very interesting, actually. I don't think I've met a musician who's played that long.
There's not too many of us around. Most are dead now.
Yeah, most of them are like, eh. Um, so does
Dead or
like,
not musical anyway.
yeah, is there like something that got you into music? Like, did you play band in high school?
No, I didn't. I was a very good singer apparently when I was young because I had a teacher who's always trying to get me in front of the class to sing all the time. It was really embarrassing. But basically, I played harmonica a lot. Uh, that was my thing for most of the. I don't know until about 16 or 17. That's when my dad got me my first guitar, and sort of went from there. So basically, I was a poet before I was a songwriter. So I played harmonica and I wrote poems, and then I got influenced by people like Bob Dylan as far as songwriting went, the Beatles as far as wanting to be in the band, I suppose, like
Yeah.
a lot of people. And yeah, so that's how it sort of started really. And I tried to join other people's bands, and which is always a dismal failure because I never bothered to learn other people's songs anyway. So
Yeah.
I managed to get into a country band of all things, and they just wanted the country guitarist, so I filled them for a little while. And eventually, they saw that I wasn't a bona fide country guitarist. I got kicked out of that. So that's when I decided I'll start my own band up. And I met a drummer through a mutual friend, and started from there basically.
That's actually very interesting. Because, like, I meet a lot of musicians, of course, but they've always been playing since, they were little or they were, in band.
Yep.
And it's nice to know that someone just like out there was just like, I'm passionate about it, so I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, well, I did everything backwards, Michelle. Basically, I'm a different story to most other people. As you said, a
Yeah.
lot of people when they're like teenage, very young teens, or later in their teens or whatever. I started. I think I was about 28 or 29 when I first even tried to get a band together, and uh, and then I had the history of every time I was in a band, I was generally the oldest one in the band. So that's just the way it was. So
Yeah, I think like after 30, a lot of bands I know just don't do it anymore. I mean, most of them are in it for the success. And then when they're not successful, they just don't want to do it anymore. And then I've met people who are like, I'm passionate about it, so why shouldn't I do it?
yeah, well, without the passion, there's no point doing it anyways. Like
Right?
Although
Like if
you
you're
see a lot of
only in it
musicians
for the success, were you ever really passionate about your music? But like,
always, I've always been passionate about music. Even when I wasn't in, mucking around in bands, I was always passionate. Like music was the thing that kept me going. Like
right?
I had bouts of intense depression for literally years and years and years. And the thing that got me through it all was basically my love of music, I think, more than anything else.
Yeah.
I
I've
remember
had some
once I
dark
made some,
years, and like the only thing that got me through it was music because, I couldn't go to school, I couldn't do anything, and the music
yeah.
helps.
Well, I think it's a
Um,
bit of a, it's a bit of a, it's a drug, but in a good way,
oh yeah.
It's a good
Oh
drug.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Like some days, some I go to concerts a lot, so right after a concert, I will sit there and I'm like, I think I'm musiced out.
Yeah. You
Okay,
can
so
get too much of a
you
good thing sometimes.
you operate under the name the Immaculate Crows. Has that always been the name? Like, did you have any other names that you were deciding
Yeah.
on?
Yeah. Like the first name I came up with for a band was the Immaculate Crows. That was the original name, the original band. Then I left them just as we had a lot of good things coming up. There was talk of us supporting big bands like Midnight Oil, and another band you probably would know called the All Nighters, who were pretty big Australian band at that stage, or a
Yeah.
ska band. And Midnight Oil, you most likely have heard of. And so we were seriously being considered to support some big acts, and we only had like two songs that were recorded around that stage, and we submitted them to our local community radio station 4ZZZ, and they got really heavy airplay. But I didn't follow it up by actually getting the product out, on a record or anything. So
Yeah.
probably because we were poor most of the time and got money to do anything like that. Anyways, it was only until 2019 that I actually got to digitalizing the old recordings for the very first time. But just to answer your question, so I got sidetracked. After when I left the original Immaculate Crows, formed another band called it Insurrection, and then the third band was called the Popes.
I think
The
I've heard of
Popes,
Insurrection.
hmm?
I think I heard of Insurrection.
You wouldn't have heard of our Insurrection because we never got any recordings out.
Huh. It might be
They're
another
lovely.
band I'm thinking of.
Yeah, there could be one floating around there somewhere. I think we would have been the very first one, though. That was about 84, I guess. And we were really, really good band. We had, by that stage, I was a pretty good guitarist, and another good guitarist joined us. And we had a singer who was dynamic, but she was one dimensional, unfortunately. She was very loud, and she had a lot of friends in the skinhead community that I um, didn't particularly get on that. I didn't like what they're on about. But because of her, we ended up playing in places where a lot of skinheads would frequent, and that caused problems from time to time. People getting bashed for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
Uh, so I was glad to get out of that scene completely. And
That
the
sounds like a
Popes was
nightmare.
yeah, it was. It was pretty scary. I actually had to get a giant skinhead to look after my wife one night after
Oh my
the school,
gosh.
when you got attacked by another couple of skinhead girls, got beaten up. And I was worried that was going to happen to my wife as well. So I asked one big skinhead guy I got on really well with, and asked me to look after Carolyn while we were playing. And then there was the Pope. There was a third band before I had a quick um, get. I got back together with the Immaculate Crows again before I stopped playing. But the Popes was very short lived. We played at what was the biggest venue in Brisbane at the time, which was called Festival Hall. And the irony was that we broke up before we even played, technically. The singer
Oh,
had the singer wasn't very confident, and we had 15 songs in our set, of which
I mean,
they're all original
if
songs.
you're a singer, you
Sorry?
kind of have to be confident. Like
I know.
you're in front of
Yeah,
all those people. Like,
It
See,
really
I
puts you off
sing,
big time.
but I know I'm not confident. So like if I were to
Right.
ever join a band, I could never do it.
What are you, a bathroom singer, are you?
Huh?
Are you a bathroom singer?
Yeah. I was like, um, so playing music since the 80s. Do you
Yeah.
do you find that writing music is easier to you because you've done it for so long, or do you still have the same like troubles with it that you did back then?
No, I've never had any trouble writing songs, but I've got to be inspired before I write. As I said, if I've got a reason to write, for example, all the years that I wasn't doing music, I wrote virtually nothing except in 2004, I was trying to get another band together, and when I was aiming towards it, I was actually beginning to write again.
Yeah.
First since the 84 or whatever. But since I reunited with previous band member back in 2020 and started getting some recordings out, all of a sudden I started getting that spurt again, and I came up with songs that, if anything, were far better than the ones I was writing back in the 80s.
Yeah. So you said that you have to be like inspired. What inspires you the most? Is it like outside ventures? Is it other musicians or bands that you listen to?
I'll give you some examples. A couple of the recent songs I've written, two of them were inspired by local events in my state. There was a youth suicide a couple of years ago. A girl had the nickname Dolly. That
Yeah.
inspired me to write a song called Dolly, and that became like a huge rant, not only about her situation, but about bullying, domestic violence, the whole gamut of bullying, cyberbullying, whatever. And that's been my most streamed song so far. And apart from that one, there was a horrific thing happening, a domestic violence event. Only literally about in the last 2 years, a lady called Hannah Clark, and three of her children were burned alive in a car
Oh my God.
by the ex. Yeah, he wouldn't let anyone help them. He trapped them inside their car, set the light, and yeah, that was absolutely shocking, and that inspired a song called for Hannah, um, which basically is, yeah, mentions her and it's inspired by her, but it's about, once again, the horrific nature of domestic violence.
Yeah.
And that doesn't be the only case. In Queensland, we've had some really terrible domestic violence cases. That's probably one of the worst ones, but there has been at least another one that was
Yeah.
just probably just bad.
I mean, a lot of domestic violence murders have been, pretty publicized, especially nowadays with, progressive cultures. Um, so I mean, it's nice that like now it's getting more traction to where women are speaking up about it.
Yeah,
Um,
but with
do you
but women is
have,
women. We've got a long way to go around the world when you look at
yeah.
the rest of the world.
Do you
Oh,
have
sorry.
any like releases or songs you're currently working on that you plan to release?
Yep, plenty of them. I've got probably about a half a dozen that are in various shapes and forms at the moment. There's one called in the music's going a slightly different direction. I've sort of done my bit with
Yeah.
alternative for now, and I'm basically getting into some other stuff because I listen to all sorts of music, Michelle. Not just alternative, and I get inspired by a lot of different things out there. And so I've got probably the first jazz song I've ever written, and it's actually a love song. Okay, and
A
unlike a
jazzy
lot of,
love song. That sounds,
yeah, it's a
yeah,
jazzy
that
love
sounds
song.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
hoping that, yeah,
can I
that
ask
one is
you
yeah,
that
yep.
I listened to Van Gogh. I really liked it. I was
Mm-hmm.
wondering about the history behind it. Because like I know
Well,
it's called Van
actually,
Gogh. Is it really about the painter?
yeah, look, it started off, that was just an idea. It's sort of Van Gogh because I was attracted to people with tragic history when I was younger and going through my depressive phase, and
Yeah.
Van Gogh was the people I read about,
I'm
sort of
glad I got through
identified.
that phase.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And I think he and he had that attachment to Gorgon as well, which is, sound like he's a pretty tragic figure, and
Yeah.
maybe he loved Gorgon, felt rejected or something. That's when he cut off a bit of his ear or whatever. But that was just like the original snippet inspiration for the song. So I started off saying a bit about was feeling like Van Gogh on a lonely starless night. Like
Yeah.
I just had this image of Van Gogh in one of his moments of desperation,
Yeah.
sitting there thinking, what shall I end it all now or whatever. That was like the initial inspiration. Then I brought in all these other themes into the song, like I mentioned scammers and backstabbers. So I've had my share of backstabbing and scammers as well. There's a lot of them in the music industry.
I would
People that
bet. Yeah.
will really,
I've met a
yeah,
lot of musicians and I'm not gonna name them, of course, but like
yeah,
there are some musicians out there that I'm like, how can you act like that, knowing how small you are?
yeah.
Seriously.
What, musicians scamming other musicians?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Or
pretty
like,
tragic.
yeah, or like backstabbing them for literally no
But if
reason.
you, but if you're
Uh,
an independent user, you must know what it's like just to try and get your name out there in any shape or
yeah.
form. It's a hard struggle for a lot of people, most of us probably. So to do it, to scam any other musos in the process is a bit like.
Yeah,
I
especially
did
when
have
they're
one.
independent and they're trying to get their name out there.
Yeah,
So,
I did have one musician that actually made a comment about Van Gogh that wasn't very nice. They said it was horrible, and I could have reacted in a different way, but I just put on the post. I just said, "Oh, well,
yeah.
you're entitled to opinion."
Okay. I have one more question for you. I
Yeah,
ask
sure.
everyone this. If you
Yep.
could open a show or headline a show and you could have any living band you'd like be a part of that show, who would you want to be in that lineup?
What, living or dead?
Living.
Living. Okay.
Yeah.
One. Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh my God, that would be awesome. I love Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I think most people.
Yeah, they're pretty popular, so
Mhm.
they're pretty popular. So,
And they've been going out
um,
a long time as well,
yeah.
and hanging.
I just like a lot of the musicians I talk to are typically like heavy metal. So, they're, you know, saying all the classic bands like Metallica and Megadeth, like classic rock to them. So it's like it's nice to get like fresher perspectives on it, especially hearing how different people answer.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I've got nothing against heavy metal, but uh, sometimes I think a lot of the lyrics leave a lot to be desired. I
Yeah.
think musically, a lot of metal bands are very, very good, but some of the lyrics really are quite embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, like
And definitely,
some bigger
I don't
bands,
even know what the lyrics are because you can never understand them anyway. So.
yeah, some bigger bands like I feel like after a while they just make the same song over and over and over again. So I try to
Yeah.
stick to like the smaller bands because at least they're putting like something different on it. Like I've heard a lot of good music from people who were
Mhm.
smaller and then like I'd hear, someone bigger and I'd listen to the song and I'd be like, "Hey, this sounds like their song from like 2012." So,
Yeah, I think a lot of
yeah.
big bands, particularly when they're touring a lot, they probably don't have that much time to even sit down and think that much about their music.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it. Touring every day, like another band I follow, like they've been on tour basically for like 2 years. And I was like,
Yeah,
how can you do that? I could not. I
it's
mean,
probably
I
because
I
they're
have
earning an
one
income
bad
there,
day at work. I'm out for a week.
right?
Oh, I
Do you
lied. That
make
was not the
gigs for a
last
living,
question.
Michelle?
Um, that was not the last question. I lied.
Okay.
So my whole thing is I deliver cakes to bands when I see them play at shows.
Yeah.
So if I ever make it out to Australia and
Well,
I could deliver a cake to you, what flavor
I'll even
of
pick
cake
you up
would you
in
like?
person to make sure it
Huh?
happens. I'll pick you up in person to make sure it happens.
Right? What flavor cake would you like?
Vanilla.
Basic. I
Vanilla
like that.
icing.
Normally when I make vanilla, I put sprinkles all over it just to like zhuzh it up a bit.
Okay, that sounds good.
Awesome. Um, okay, well, thank you for coming on here today and talking to me. Sorry
No
about
problem
all
at all.
the, you know, I can test out my equipment myself, but when it comes to talking to other people, I have no idea if it works. So
Okay. No,
I was
I
like,
thought
I
it
don't
would.
have anyone to test this with, so we'll just
Mhm.
hope for the best.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, we're practically babes in the woods when it comes to stuff too. So
That's why I do it over Zoom because I mean, with the pandemic, it makes it easier to like set up because most people already have dealt with it. So,
mhm.
like, I get messages like, "Hey, how do you normally do this?" My lamp fell. How do you normally do this? And I'm like, it's so easy. Just hop on Zoom. I will handle the rest.
It's not bad once you get it going.
Yeah.
Once you love it's fine.
Oh yeah. Thank you for talking today. I really
It's
like
okay.
hearing
Enjoy.
your stories.
Okay.
That's a very interesting lifestyle you've led.
Yeah, and there's more to come.
Yeah. Ooh, I just thought of another question. How
Okay.
many bands would you say you've been a part of?
I've been a part of
Yeah.
3.
3?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The Immaculate Crows, of which I just kept that artist name for my current music,
Yeah.
Insurrection, and the Popes. They're the 3 different bands I found and played in back in the 80s.
At least you don't have to deal with band drama anymore.
That's exactly right. It's
Yeah.
good.
It's daytime there, right?
Yes, nice sunny day here at the
Yeah. Have a good day then.
same to yourself, Michelle. Nice to meet you.
It was nice to meet you too.
Okay.
Sorry. Thank you guys again for tuning into the podcast. Um, Stay tuned for Band of the Week and updated playlists. Song of the Week playlist. And stay tuned next week for more interviews. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. I'm glad. I'm like so happy and in disbelief as to how many people who have followed me, who are watching me, who are supporting what I do. So thank you guys so much. This is Van Gogh by the Immaculate Crows. And thank you guys again so much.
I was feeling like Van Gogh on a lonely starless night, looking for inspiration, giving up the fight. What are you doing? A voice said inside to me, just keep on going. And looks like it's up to me. Try